What if you could detect a lie in real time without needing a lie detector? Have you ever stopped to think about how many times someone might have lied to you without you realizing it? A coworker, a close friend, in your relationship, or even a family member. The truth is that lies are more common than we imagine, and often go unnoticed even by the most attentive. But I'm going to show you how to know when someone is trying to manipulate you. In this video, you will discover 11 common signs that indicate when someone isn't being honest, and learn the techniques used by experts to detect lies. And the last sign is the most revealing of all, something nobody ever imagined. Stay with me until the end of this video, and you'll learn how to identify lies quickly and practically. Signs that researchers and experts in human behavior have dedicated years of study to understanding the differences in body language that accompany lies. This knowledge can not only help you identify liars, but also prepare you for manipulative situations and people. Let's get started. First sign, avoiding eye contact. One of the most common signs of lying is avoiding eye contact. While not all liars exhibit this behavior, it's an important clue to observe. When a person is lying, they may feel emotional discomfort that manifests as difficulty in keeping their eyes on yours for too long. This happens because looking someone in the eye while lying can create a sense of guilt or fear of being caught. It's essential to keep in mind that avoiding eye contact is not an absolute guarantee that someone is lying. Some people may also avoid looking into your eyes during a conversation due to shyness or natural nervousness, even when they are being honest. Therefore, it's crucial to consider the context and other accompanying signs. The practical tip here is simple. Pay attention to how the person responds to direct questions. If, when confronted with a specific question, they suddenly avert their gaze or fix their eyes on another point in the room, this could be an indication of a lie. Try to ask questions naturally, maintaining a friendly tone of voice, to observe how the person reacts without feeling pressured. To maximize your perception, observe the person's visual behavior throughout the entire interaction. If eye avoidance occurs only during critical moments of the conversation, it is a more reliable sign that something may be hidden. Second sign, varying responses. You've probably experienced this situation before. When a person starts telling a story, mentioning that something happened at a certain time or place, but then, when they repeat the same story, they get lost in the details. Maybe they change the time, add something new that they didn't mention before, or even swap the order of events. These adjustments can indicate that the story is being fabricated or adapted as questions are asked. It's like when you're trying to remember a past conversation and realize that the details are different this time. Has this ever happened to you? It's a clear sign that the narrative may not be as truthful as it seems. Often, someone who is lying needs to adjust their story to keep it convincing, but they end up complicating the details for themselves. Vary your questions throughout the conversation and observe the responses. Ask in different ways and at different moments to see if the story remains the same. If new elements pop up or the details suddenly start to change, this is a strong indication that something isn't right. And have you ever gone through this? Comment below on how you noticed these signs in someone. Almost everyone has encountered someone who changes their story throughout a conversation, creating that instant feeling of distrust. Now let's move on to the next sign. Third sign, exaggerated justifications. The sign of exaggerated justifications is a quite common indicator of lying. Liars tend to provide more explanations than necessary in an attempt to seem more convincing. They may offer details that weren't even asked for, trying to reinforce the truthfulness of their story. You've probably encountered this as well, when someone is telling a story and suddenly starts including details that seem out of context or insignificant. It's as if they want to strengthen the narrative so much that they end up making the story more complicated than it should be. This is a way to divert attention from the truth and create a sense of forced confidence. When you notice this type of behavior, pay attention to the amount of unnecessary detail in the explanation. Sometimes, less is more, and those who are telling the truth tend to be more straightforward and to the point. So, if the story starts to stretch without any apparent reason, it could be a warning sign that something isn't right. Have you ever been in a conversation where the person seemed to be justifying themselves excessively? If so, it could be a sign that the truth was being distorted. Fourth sign, expressions of fear. One of the hardest signs to notice, yet very revealing, is expressions of fear. These subtle changes in someone's face happen in fractions of a second and can indicate that the person is trying to hide something. They appear unexpectedly and disappear quickly before the person can control them. These expressions can be observed in moments of tension. For instance, a slight furrowing of the brow, a look of surprise that vanishes rapidly, or a smile that fades before fully forming. Although subtle, these reactions often reflect true feelings that the person is trying to conceal. It's important to pay attention to whether these changes arise during critical moments of the conversation, especially when the person is under pressure. If you notice a quick expression of fear that is soon replaced by a more controlled one, it may be a sign that something is being disguised. These changes can be difficult to perceive, but now you know how to identify them right away. This can be incredibly useful for better understanding when someone isn't being completely honest. Fifth sign: tone of voice. And this sign might catch you off guard. The tone of voice. Yes, liars often alter their tone suddenly, especially when they're being pressed and become extremely nervous. This change can be subtle, but generally the voice tends to become higher, lower, or even more shaky in moments of tension. This happens because the person feels under pressure and ends up altering their voice for no apparent reason, simply due to the stress of maintaining the lie. Have you ever noticed in a casual conversation when, all of a sudden, someone's voice gets louder or they start to speak faster or in a strange manner? This is an unconscious attempt to adjust to the stress of the moment. Often, this variation is a direct reflection of nervousness, as lying requires more mental and emotional effort than telling the truth. When this happens, pay attention not only to what is being said, but also to how it is being said. If you notice this fluctuation in tone, especially when direct questions are posed, it's very likely that a lie is part of the conversation. Our instincts often pick up on these changes, even before our rational minds process them. So trust your radar and remember this sign. It can help you identify when someone isn't being completely honest. Sixth sign: nervous tics. A classic sign of lying is nervous tics, such as repeatedly touching the face or neck. This behavior is an unconscious response to discomfort and stress, and it's quite common in people who are trying to hide the truth. When someone is lying, emotional tension leads them to resort to these movements as a way to relieve their nervousness. Have you ever noticed that when a conversation becomes tenser, some people start scratching their noses, rubbing their eyes, or touching their necks? This isn't just a habit, it's an unconscious attempt to cope with the stress of the moment. These tics emerge almost without the person realizing, making them a valuable signal for identifying when someone isn't being completely honest. If you notice that a person begins to exhibit these tics during direct or uncomfortable questions, pay attention. It's possible that the nervousness is linked to the attempt to maintain a lie. These touches on the face or neck are clues that the body sends out, even when the mind is trying to hide something. Imagine you're in the middle of an engaging conversation, and then someone asks a more direct question. Suddenly, for no apparent reason, the person changes the subject mid-conversation. People exchange confused looks because it's really strange when this happens. This is a typical and classic sign that the person may be trying to hide something. Liars often use this strategy to divert attention from an uncomfortable topic and redirect the conversation to safer ground, where they feel less pressured and can continue to be the center of attention. Seventh sign: changing the subject. This is a major red flag, changing the subject quickly. Have you noticed how, in conversations that require honesty, some people seem to have a special talent for abruptly shifting topics? This maneuver isn't just a rhetorical trick. It's a clear sign that the person may be trying to divert the conversation to safer ground. Imagine the scene. You're addressing a delicate issue with a friend, perhaps an unfulfilled promise or a poorly hidden secret. Suddenly, the conversation takes an unexpected turn, and they start talking about the latest movie they watched or the game from the weekend. It's as if they're lighting a red alert signal, trying to avoid the questions that really matter. This quick change of subject is a tactic many liars use to escape scrutiny. What lies behind this sudden shift? Most often, it's an attempt to avoid exposure and vulnerability. When pressed, they seek topics that don't put them in an uncomfortable position, creating a smokescreen around their intentions. This strategy is frequently employed by habitual liars and often comes accompanied by other signs, such as nervousness, fidgeting gestures, or changes in tone of voice. This verbal dance can be a strong indicator that the person isn't comfortable with what they're saying, leading them to hastily shift focus to something that makes them feel more secure. Eighth sign, fake smile. A smile is one of the most common expressions and also one of the easiest to fake. But did you know that you can tell the difference between a genuine smile and a forced one? A genuine smile involves the eyes, while a fake smile is merely from the mouth down. A sincere smile is accompanied by small creases around the eyes, and the surrounding muscles naturally contract. Have you ever been in a situation where someone smiled but something felt off? Do you sense that the smile didn't match the person's eyes? This is a clear sign that the expression is forced. Often, liars use this type of smile to try to gain your trust or divert attention from their lie. If you want to determine whether a smile is authentic, look into the person's eyes. If they aren't involved in the smile, it's likely just an attempt to cover something up. So, the next time someone gives you a somewhat lifeless smile, remember, it could just be a disguise. Ninth sign, body language. Did you know that body language is one of the most observed signs by researchers? Indeed, lying often manifests itself in bodily tension. When someone is lying, it's common for their body to become more rigid, with crossed arms or hunched shoulders, as an unconscious form of protection. This defensive posture is a natural subconscious reaction of someone trying to hide the truth. Some people tend to become more closed off during a tense conversation, almost as if they are protecting themselves. They may cross their arms, hunch their shoulders, or even lean back slightly. These signs of bodily tension serve as a physical barrier, albeit subtle, especially when the person feels exposed or threatened by the situation. The interesting thing is that the body speaks much more than words do. When someone is nervous or trying to lie, their body language often reveals what their words are attempting to conceal. A simple gesture of leaning away or a more rigid posture can communicate much more than any well-crafted excuse. Observing these signs of bodily tension is a powerful way to understand what is truly going on. 10th sign, delayed responses. Delayed responses to something simple can be a sign that something isn't right. This hesitation may seem harmless at first glance, but it actually reveals the mental effort the person is making to conceal the truth. Often, these prolonged pauses are not just a matter of struggling for words. They indicate that the person's mind is busy trying to craft a convincing answer, especially when the pressure is high. When that silence occurs during a conversation, particularly after a direct question, it creates an uncomfortable moment. It's at this instant that suspicion should be triggered. The tension in the air is unmistakable. This hesitation can be a clear indication that honesty is at stake. A slow or hesitant response is not merely a matter of searching for words. It is the dishonesty of a lie being formulated during that silence. Test the consistency of the story. Ask more questions and probe deeper. Observing this sign enhances your ability to perceive when someone is lying. Now let's move on to the last sign, which is the most impressive of all. 11th sign, excessive sympathy. Have you ever encountered someone who was just too nice to you to the point of it feeling strange? Everyone likes friendly people, right? But what about when that friendliness is a bit exaggerated? Not all sympathy is genuine, and knowing how to identify when it's being used as a manipulation tactic is essential. Excessive sympathy can be a strategy to hide ulterior motives. This is especially common in situations where someone wants to quickly gain your trust. In critical moments, some people become overly friendly. This can be a warning sign that many people don't immediately notice. Does it sound odd? Perhaps, but this is a real strategy. Imagine it as an emotional chess game, where every move is made to earn your trust. The goal? To manipulate you without you realizing it. Research conducted by experts in body language shows that nonverbal behaviors can reveal a person's true intentions. When sympathy is exaggerated, especially out of context, it can be seen as a manipulative attempt to control. Now that you know the signs, how can you protect yourself? The first step is to develop greater awareness of these tactics. Always question the intention behind someone's behavior. Throughout this video, we explored 11 signs that may indicate someone isn't being honest. From avoiding eye contact to excessive sympathy, Each sign adds a new layer of understanding to the complexity of human interactions. Now that you know the signs, you'll be better prepared to identify lies and manipulations in your daily life. Remember, the truth can hide behind smiles and kind words, and understanding these signs can help you navigate your relationships better, whether at work, at home, or anywhere else. So, stay alert and use your radar to notice when something doesn't seem right. Which sign surprised you the most? Comment below. You might have the key to help others recognize these subtle behaviors, and your experience can be valuable to many. Every story shared strengthens our community and enriches our collective learning. And if you thought of someone who could benefit from this knowledge, share the 11 signs. These exchanges help open doors to new reflections on how we perceive the intentions of those around us. If you enjoyed this video and found these tips useful, don't forget to give it a like and subscribe for more content like this. The ability to identify signs of dishonesty is a powerful tool. By becoming more aware of human interactions, you can make more informed decisions and protect yourself from potentially harmful situations. If you liked this video and found these tips useful, be sure to leave a like and subscribe for more content like this. Together, let's uncover the mysteries of human interactions and deepen our understanding of what's really happening around us. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.